Let's go! We ready? Woo! Let's go, baby. Dummies for sports. Here we go. Let's go, baby. Week 1 review. Week 1 in the books. It's always fun to overreact to week 1. Because we all know that everything you see in week 1 is exactly what you're going to get throughout the course of the season. Everyone knows that. That goes without saying. So here's what we're going to do, boys. We sort of, tweak with our little format every single year, which is one of the best parts about doing a podcast. So you can do whatever the heck you want. But this year, we're going to, do some quick hitters. We're going to go through every game, quick hitters, couple minutes in each game, and move on. And then at the end, we're going to leave you off with our 5 biggest overreactions from week 1. So let's get started, guys. Thank you for joining us. We got the full crew here. Great to see your faces, man.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's start. Lions, Chiefs, Thursday night. I know it sounds like an eternity ago. Feels like an eternity ago, at least. So let's go with one takeaway. I'll start. You'll follow Yehuda, and then we'll go to Aaron. So my one takeaway is very simple. It's just quick. I don't want to. I want something that's maybe a little different than you'll hear in the narrative. Sky Moore not getting many targets. A lot of people looked to, Kadarius Toney in the bad game he had. I was looking more towards Sky Moore. The fact that, they really did bring this guy, you bring a guy like that into the offense, you obviously want to feature him heavily in the passing game, but he didn't get any targets. I mean, literally. So, I'm looking for them to get him involved in the passing game a little more here.
Yeah, my takeaway is the Chiefs, they just signed Chris Jones back, so he's a huge boost for the defense, but Travis Kelce cannot come back soon enough, and the Chiefs would be in serious trouble if they have to keep running out these plumbers at wide receiver for Patrick Mahomes. For as great as he is, he cannot catch the ball too. So they need a solid receiver, and we could even see them maybe make a trade for a receiver in mid-season.
No, it's Kelce. Kelce at the end of the day. I don't think there's nothing to overreact. We see teams lose week 1 all the time. You go into week 1 a little shaky. So I have no fear in the Chiefs. And then on the Lions, they had played a very good game. They played every second of that game very well. Did exactly what they needed to get done. So, I mean, there's not much to be said about that game. Kadarius Toney was atrocious. And not having Travis Kelce is not having Travis Kelce. Now they get Chris Jones back next week. So, I mean, their holes are filled as long as they get Kelce back. Their holes are filled. And who doesn't like their holes filled?
Let's move on. I don't even know what that means. Let's move on to Sunday. And
eating very tasty food.
Let's move on to Sunday. We had the battle of the AFC North, the Browns versus the Bengals. My one takeaway from this game is the Browns front seven looks absolutely legit, causing problems for Joe Burrow. And, Myles Garrett, when he matches up with Orlando Brown this year, which he will do again, and maybe a third time in the playoffs, unlikely, but who knows? Point is, they're going to be matching up with each other for a couple of years here to come. And Myles Garrett certainly got the matchup advantage there. He was wrecking him all day. So that's my takeaway.
Myles Garrett was literally doing the hezzy crossover mid game. Oh my God, that was ridiculously disrespectful. Yeah, he owned that O-line that still is having issues, even signing Orlando Brown. And we say this, I've been saying this, I've been hearing people say this. You don't play in the preseason. Quarterbacks that don't play in the preseason, they struggle in the first couple of weeks of the season. And Joe Burrow with the whole preseason with an injury, he struggled and the whole offense struggled. I mean, Deshaun Watson didn't even look good either, but luckily their defense came to play, the Browns defense, but the Bengals looked awful.
Yeah, I mean, Browns get themselves some new coordinators, and that really helps them. But other than, that defense just blitz, but that's what the Ravens need to do next week: blitz, and pressure Joe Burrow. I mean, hopefully you don't injure him because we love Joe Burrow. But if he's out for the rest of the game, he's out for the rest of the game. But yeah, that was just a stomping. Another Bengals loss in week 1, a stomping. So, but once again, I mean, you're not gonna overreact to that, as last year proved. So, it's just a week 1 stomping. As you could put it, Hezzy.
All right, Jags versus Colts, another division matchup. Obviously Colts had a chance in that game. Jags pulled away late. My one big takeaway from this game is Calvin Ridley is back. That's really what I think. After sitting out for a long time, he had 8 catches yesterday, 101 yards and a touchdown. I think he had another 20-plus yard catch that was actually erased. But this is exactly what they brought Calvin Ridley in on the cheap to do, to be a number one receiver. And through 1 week at least, he has proven to be a legit number one receiver like his old self. So that's my takeaway from this game.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I've never seen a player not be so rust. Like every player usually has some rust when they miss a couple of games. Yeah. Calvin Ridley yesterday was money. He looked like he's like suspended. I never was suspended. I don't know what happened. He was money. I think this game was closer than it even should have been. Yeah. I think that this was. I think it was like because I think all that fumble. There was that fumble that they walked into the end zone. That was such a silly play. You take that away. You take that play away. Yeah, you can always with this play but let's take that away and the game is 31-14 and you have a whole new ball game and maybe even more because they could have scored maybe that drive. I mean they were backs in the end zone, but yeah, you go on.
For real, I just learned, by the way, Tank Bigsby's real name is Cartavius. That is a sick name. But yeah, my takeaway is also Calvin Ridley, amazing. No rust, like you said, he is money, which interesting terminology. Had suspension for a week off for betting, and Calvin Ridley was money, but no pun intended. But he looked awesome, and I would say Anthony Richardson. I was pleasantly surprised. He was almost 65% in passing. I thought he was going to be atrocious. I genuinely thought he had potential to be like under 50% passing. And maybe if he plays like a better defense with a better secondary, then he'll struggle a little more. But Anthony Richardson played well and he kept them in the game.
There you go.
Yeah, you're good.
I said what I said. I said before you, Yehuda.
Okay, good. All of it, Ridley, pretty much was our big takeaway.
Yeah, I mean it's the Colts are the Colts. No, we don't talk. The Colts left town. We don't talk about them much. We're waiting for them to trade. We're waiting for them to trade us Jonathan Taylor, but we don't want to say anything mean. We want to be nice things about the Colts. So you know how Jim Irsay is. You say something mean about Jim Irsay, and I'm not trading with them. I'm not trading with them, and we need Jonathan Taylor. We can use Jonathan Taylor, I could say, on this team.
No one thinks it.
Well, he better not watch the podcast then. No, please do. That'd be pretty cool if we get Jim Irsay watching the podcast. Falcons, Panthers, again, another division matchup to start the season. My big takeaway from this game is the limited targets that Kyle Pitts and Drake London got, 4 targets combined. You would have to imagine, right, those are the 2 weapons in the offense that are going to get featured, and they were not at all. So my big takeaway is the limited targets, and therefore the Falcons clearly intend to not put the game in Desmond Ridder's hands, right? Make sure that Desmond Ridder throws as little as possible, run the ball, short underneath stuff. That's really all it is. Don't screw it up, and let the playmakers do their thing. I think that's the Falcons' plan this year.
He literally threw the ball 18 times. I mean, maybe Arthur Smith is a big fan of Chai, and he can't throw more than 18. But yeah, he's going to put the game in the hands of his dynamic rookie Bijan and his underrated second-year running back Tyler Algier. So 2 amazing running backs, the most important position in the NFL.
Yeah. Here we go.
An offense that looks basically exactly like last year, but now they have an amazing running back, and they're just going to continue to ground and pound with that amazing offensive line.
Is there any team? How many wins can the Falcons really put together with this running game at the end of the day? Right, it is incredible, and they do get down the field. And when they need to throw the ball, they tend to find someone that can get the ball at some point. But they don't need to throw the ball because they have this running game. So until that running game is stopped, you really won't see. And you can't say they don't have targets. Guys like Kyle Pitts, they do have targets. Across more than
they didn't. They're not getting any targets.
Not week 1.
But they don't need to give them the targets. You win a game like that, you don't need targets. So the question at the end of the day is, can someone stop that running game? I don't know. Will we ever see then when that happens, we'll see what they can do by throwing the ball. But there's no need to throw the ball, and I love this. This is amazing. It's old school, ground and pound. I love it. And I thought Bryce Young. I mean, there's something to him, but there's nothing to. I mean, there's nothing to. There's no help, and you're just gonna run. You're running. There's a sad career being run to the ground, unfortunately, unless something happens. But there's nothing happening there.
Yeah, I think we got the assessment pretty good so far for the Falcons and the Panthers. Let's move on to the Bucks and Vikings. Another assessment we made at the beginning of the season was that the Vikings would not win as many close games. And through 1 week, that is true. 20-17, they lose the 3-point. And that was the Vikings season last year. The reason they had one of the best records in the NFC is because they won all their close games. We said, this year you got to imagine some of those are going to go the other way. And week 1, that's exactly what happened. They lost week 1 to the Baker Mayfield-led Bucks. And we'll see if that trend continues throughout the season of them losing close games.
Oh my gosh, I think we hang out too much because that was my one takeaway also, was that there's no...
Let me say, Yehuda, we're through 5 games. The next 5 you'll go first, and the following 5 Meisty will go first. So I don't take away everyone's things, all right?
No, it's okay. I mean, not that... obviously, it's boring if we say the same thing every time, but great minds think alike.
That's right.
Yeah, the Vikings were constantly winning close one-score games. And this year, literally week 1, they lose a 1-score game. And the Bucks had no run game and Baker Mayfield, but they had some timely turnovers of Kirk Cousins and of the Vikings offense, and were able to steal this win from the Vikings in Minnesota.
Was that Baker's one good game a year, or is that just the Vikings being the Vikings? At the end of the day, the 2 things I wrote about this game was the ball didn't bounce their way, finally. Yeah. Right, that was one thing I wrote. And the second thing I really wrote was that Baker's, one good game. But that's really it. I mean, there's no more to it. The Bucks found a way to do enough to stop Justin Jefferson from getting to the end zone, even though he had 1,000,000 yards. And I'm watching his fantasy numbers. I'm like, oh, he must have scored a touchdown. Nope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the Ravens. Let's move on to the Ravens-Texans. Yehuda, what's your one big takeaway from this game?
My one big takeaway is that the Ravens' offense was going to be rusty, and I didn't think it would look that bad. But I think they're going to have to move even more pass-heavy now because of the loss of J.K. And so I think that this is a little preview for one of my overreactions, but I think that their run offense is going to significantly struggle and significantly be hindered by this loss of JK, and Lamar is going to be asked to throw even more than he has in the past. Oh, Scorigami!
I wanted to say...
Yeah.
Scorigami's your one big takeaway.
Scorigami. No, yeah. I really was, my big takeaway was Zay Flowers. I think he proved that he is Zay Flowers.
Darn
and
it,
he is here to stay.
Mine.
Yeah, that's my for sure big takeaway. I mean, I think there's still too many question marks about Lamar Jackson. I think the fact that we played the Texans helped. I think if that was any other team and that's your first half, your second half probably looks very similar to that. You might still win the game because they were even worse, but that was atrocious. The Ravens had all their injuries, so.
Yeah, I second the Zay Flowers notion. I was very impressed by him. I didn't necessarily have high expectations for him going into the season, but he did look like a mini Tyreek Hill to some extent. 54 of his 78 yards came after catch, so he looks very quick, very, very quick after the catch, can do a lot of damage once he gets the ball in his hands, so encouraging sign. Totally agreed. Okay, Steelers-Niners. What?
Yeah. Quick Dummies for Sports trivia. Which game did Yehuda go to? I was at that one.
Which?
I was at the game. Is that yesterday's game?
Oh, yeah, yesterday's game. That's what you mean. Oh, which?
I was supposed to be, but someone decided to have tip-off before kickoff. So.
All right, let's move on. Steelers-Niners. Yehuda, what you got for this game?
My takeaway is that Kenny Pickett is only good against second and third stringers in the preseason. All I heard all preseason was the Steelers are this sexy sleeper pick. Oh, are they going to win the AFC North? Joe Burrow's injured. Lamar has a new offense. The Browns is the Browns. Oh, the Steelers. Tomlin doesn't have losing records. they're playing at home. Here's a good test against Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's elbow isn't good. The Niners defense, the Niners offense has tells. Patrick Peterson's getting a pick or two. He's going to get so many interceptions, and then he got roasted, obliterated. He gave up not one, but 2 touchdowns to Ayuk. One of them was man-to-man. Ayuk head topped him, and the other one, Ayuk absolutely destroyed him on a route in the end zone. Patrick Peterson showed his age. He is not good. He's, dare I say, he's washed up. He was pretty washed in Minnesota. Now he's on the Steelers, who play a lot of man defense, and they expect Patrick Peterson to cover people man. They looked awful, and they still have a Matt Canada offense. Even the Steelers fans, everyone else is happy that the Steelers still employ Matt Canada. Everyone but the Steelers, because their offense was terrible. And if they keep playing like that, they are going to have their first losing season.
Yehuda coming in hot.
So, I think the 49ers, I think if you put it this way, the 49ers healthy are the best team in the NFC when healthy. But my takeaway is, and I don't want to tell the Steelers how to win football games because that's not what I'm here to do, because I hate them. But if they would throw the ball to George Pickens a little bit more inbounds, not out of bounds, they'd win some games. And the other thing is that was Mike Tomlin's worst home loss of his career. That's pretty big.
Yeah,
but I don't think the Steelers should have anything to worry about because the Browns and the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals and the Bengals lost. So they're not in last place.
Right. In terms of losing ground. Yeah. Well, my biggest takeaway is from the other side of the ball. It's from the Niners. I think Brock Purdy looks very elusive in the pocket. It's hard to take him down. I think I don't think Brock Purdy's great, but I think he's the best quarterback the Niners have had in a very long time. And I think of all the playmakers on this team, Brandon Ayuk is so underrated, and he's the fourth best playmaker He's the fourth best playmaker on this team, and he showed how talented he really is yesterday. So, yeah, those are my 2 biggest takeaways from the Niners Steelers. Commanders Cardinals. I don't know if what you got for this one, Yehuda. This is a tough one to get a takeout from.
Yeah, my takeaway is that the Commanders should not have made me sweat that much for a game against the Cardinals. Let me thave you, all my free bets. I mean, all my $50 bets to get all my free bets really would have been bad if I didn't. Yeah, Sam Howell was good in the preseason, but then he's just handing out turnover touchdowns like they're nothing. But I think genuinely on that final drive when I saw Josh Dobbs complete a pass to a receiver, and then the receiver gets tackled trying to go out of bounds, and he gets tackled, and they have like 2 or 3 timeouts left, and instead of calling a timeout there and trying to continue your game-winning drive, they just don't and just let the clock run. I'm like, if I haven't seen any evidence of a team tanking, but this, I'm not going to say any. I can't call them out, but yeah, the Cardinals look like they could be playing the first overall pick, and the Commanders are lucky that they were playing the Cardinals yesterday.
I definitely agree that the Cardinals confirmed to everyone who they really are, that they're going for number 1. That was obvious. If you ask me, though, the Commandees, the Skins, the football team, whatever we call them next, are they back in business? Are they back in business, Rocky? Are they here to stay? I mean, the Eagles struggled. I will talk about that later. The Cowboys are, and they're not for real. And don't want to. They can still win. And the Giants have been demoted to college. So the Skins are in business, Rocky.
Demoted to college.
Your father is very happy. He thinks your father told me. He says it's gonna be Skins Ravens Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, right. I'm sure he told you that, right? Yeah, that would be quite something.
His dream.
There's not really much to take away from here. I mean, the game went as expected, very slow. You didn't really think the Commanders would be able to cover a 7-point line even against the Cardinals. Late turnover kept the Cardinals in the game. I think the biggest takeaway is the Commanders got to finish off drives. Don't make boneheaded decisions if you're Sam Howell. and hopefully they'll win a couple games. That's really it, you know.
you thought going into the game, you could have thought maybe Sam Howell has some like hope, and then you see him like make these decisions, and you're like, oh, you're so bad at football.
Yeah.
You're so bad.
Sometimes you're like, what are you doing, man? 100%. And you have that.
Come on, man.
He's one of those He's one of those head scratching quarterbacks, which you have a couple of, you know. Okay, what do we got next? Titans versus Saints. What do you got for this one, Yehuda?
My takeaway from this is that this is exactly who the Saints want to be. They want to be a game managed. Derek Carr is a perfect game manager quarterback for them. Or this is exactly what the Saints want, and that they win with good defense and a solid run game. Didn't have the best run game yesterday, but from the Titans side, I think that Ryan Tannehill might be close to done. And another preview of an overreaction that I have, but he might be close to done. And I play in a fantasy league with both of you guys, so I don't want to give this away. But Tajay Spears is a guy that you want to look at for fantasy and for real football. With Derrick Henry, on his way out. Not that he played poorly today, but Tajay Spears was on the field. He had more snaps than Derrick Henry. So that's interesting that a rookie, the coaches trust a rookie to be on the field more than Derrick Henry.
No, I don't think
be a name to know. Yeah. I'm just gave you my sleeper.
First of all, no. Let me say this, Rocky. You said it when we were talking about the Titans preview before the season. You said Ryan Tannehill is a mediocre quarterback. Rocky, I'm going to replace that with a bottom 5, bottom 10. I can't even. I mean, he's with Sam Howell. He's on the same level. I mean, he's just boneheaded, stupidity, dumb decision-making quarterback. And you can't say, like, oh, his coaching. He's got good coaches. He's got good. I mean, like, they trade away A.J. Brown, but there's still a team around him somewhat. Defense is but at the end of the day, you got to play better, Ryan Tannehill. And these are the games the Saints just have to get the ball to bounce their way, win games like this. Don't be stupid. And at the end of the day, you see what the Bucs are doing. The rest of the division is the Panthers and the Falcons are doing whatever. But your games against the Bucs and the Falcons are really the only game circled on their entire schedule that is like must-win games. The rest of these just got to get the ball to bounce your way. I like the Saints. I mean, they're my pick.
Yeah, no.
Win the division, but I think it's going to be
I agree.
very tough.
I agree with both of you. Tannehill looked awful. 3 picks officially, 4 turnover-worthy plays, and I don't think Derek Carr looked much better. And Derek Carr's got a lot of good playmakers there. That's pretty much why the Saints won this game. They did enough. I think that offense should look better. It didn't look as good as I think that it could throughout the season. But Tannehill looked awful, and I'm with you, Yehuda. That was my one big takeaway as well. How long till you give Levis a chance? So that's a real question mark for the Titans, and we're gonna have to see how that progresses. Now, I don't think Malik Willis, but I think Levis will get the chance before Willis because they already experimented.
I think it's got to start happening soon.
I would imagine. Okay, Packers versus Bears. Okay, Yehuda, you're first for the last time. Then we'll go to Meisty. What do you got for this one, Yehuda?
Okay, you keep asking me ones where I keep thinking about my overreaction. I just want to say them already. I'm getting too excited.
I know you're jumping out of your seat. I know how it feels. I had a couple of those too.
I would say I was very disappointed in Justin Fields. Like, obviously, we saw some shaky stuff during the preseason, and some not the best passes. But he did not look very good. And that Packers an underrated defense. They could win with a solid quarterback like Jordan Love and those Aaron Jones number one option basically for the Packers, especially with Christian Watson out, and they got all these young guys, Watson, Dobbs, and Musgrave. They could really make a push for the NFC North and host a playoff game.
It's so crazy to say that. That's just the Packers winning. The Packers are winning, but and Jordan Love learned from the best. Let's just put it that way. And the Bears need to show something. I mean, if they have a horrible season again, you're like, I heard one Bears fan say, he's like, I hope we have the first pick and the Panthers get the second pick. Hell yeah.
What if the Texans got the first pick and the Bears got the second pick next year? That would be something.
Anything. That'd be crazy.
That'd be nuts. Packers Bears.
Anyway.
Yeah, so I think my biggest takeaway is that the Packers offensive line just looked fantastic. Clearly Jordan Love's going to have time to throw this year. They allowed 2 pressures on 30 dropbacks, and Romeo Doubs didn't play, and yet Christian Watson wasn't. He had a good game. Jordan Love had a pretty solid game. I don't know if you want to take away much from that because they obviously did play the Bears, but Jordan Love was a wild card heading into the year, and the fact that he, when you give him a clean pocket, goes through his reads, he can clearly do some damage. So I think that was pretty convincing if you're the Packers. Okay, Meisty, you're number 1 for the remaining 5 games. Raiders, Broncos. What you got for this one, Meisty?
I think Russ started out hot. I mean, wasn't anything too amazing, and obviously second half came out falling apart. I think Jimmy G played well. Other than that, it's just the Broncos Raiders. Okay, at Rocky, here's this stat: if the Broncos averaged last year 16 points a game, right? They scored 16 again. Nothing's really changed. Is it Russell Wilson? Is it just Broncos? Like, it's so – and they lost 17-16. Like, it's so stupid. Just score another point. Like, it's the same thing story as last year. It pisses me off. It really bothers me because I hate when teams don't make, like, adjustments to the past year. Like, you looked at last year and you just did the same exact nothing.
Yeah. They literally lost week 1 last year to the Seahawks, 17-16, and they just did it again.
Right, the Monday night game. That's right. Crazy stuff. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together.
New year, same shtus. I'm not going to say it. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Yeah, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Russell Wilson was cooking in the first half. Like, he actually was playing well, and then I don't know what happened. Yeah, they let him cook, and he did well, and then all of a sudden their defense just broke just enough to allow Jimmy G and Devontae Adams to score just enough on them. And listen, don't look now, but the Las Vegas Raiders are in first place.
First place, that's right.
Raiders winning the West.
That's right. I know, crazy week 1. Yeah, that's when your typical week 1 stuff narratives, let's say. But so you guys both looked at it from the Broncos angle. I'm going to look at it a bit from the Raiders angle. Patrick Surtain did a good job on Devontae Adams, 3 pass breakups against him. But Jacoby Myers picked up the slack. That's a number 2 receiver that they were looking at in the offseason, and they gave him 10 targets. He had 2 touchdowns. So I like that. If you can have a really solid number 2 as Jacoby Myers is designed in this league to be a number 2. He was relied on in New England to be a number 1. That's just not him. But if you put him in the position which he should be, his natural number 2 receiver position, not getting all the attention, then he can be a really solid contributor. So I'm liking Jacoby Myers on this team. Eagles.
He got lit.
He did. Oh, that was crazy. I know. That really looked a little scary actually at first. But but he got up. Okay. And he came back.
He's in concussion protocol.
Yeah. Okay, Eagles Pats. That's the next game. Meisty, what you got for us?
Which game you say? Sorry, I didn't hear you said
Eagles
there.
Pats.
Oh, I wish we were here with Sean right now. I mean, I'd be roasting him even though his team won. I thought that was. I think it was a typical week 1 game for some good teams. You come out, you worked hard all offseason, you come out into week 1, you're thinking you're gonna crush them, and you struggle early, but you find your way. At the end of the day, you found a way to win there. I think my saying for this game is the Eagles struggled more than the Patriots did well. The Eagles were rusty and the Patriots, but the Patriots have a lot of hope. They put a lot of pressure, and that's very good. What you need to be doing in a lot of games, if you're in tight moments against any team, being able to put pressure on a quarterback, as the Browns showed, will help the teams like the Patriots. Yes, the Eagles are just better.
Yeah. Eagles. My biggest takeaway was the Eagles' offense did not look good. And obviously, there's going to be a regression from last year because their offense was a buzzsaw and they were amazing. But the Eagles, they get a pick 6 to start the game. They go up 16-0 like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to beat them 35-7. Like they're going to crush them. And last year they would have beat them 35-7. But then this year, Patriots hung around, and then the Patriots just came back and kept it way too close. And watching Booty try to drag his feet there, that's a rookie receiver. If he drags his feet and he gets that first down on 4th down, Patriots probably win the game. They would have gotten four cracks at the end zone.
Costly.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously as a rookie, you live and learn. But yeah, that was way too close for an opponent that obviously they're going into New England, and it's still Bill Belichick, but like that was way too close for an opponent that is perceived to be a lot lower than you.
Yeah, I know.
From the ego.
All your points are correct. Again, I'm going to try to take a little different angle. Mac Jones 4 big time throws. I think when we looked at Mac Jones when he got drafted, he's sort of like a low ceiling, low floor type of guy. That has not really been the case. He'll have random games where he's like throwing absolute dimes, but then for the most part, he's just putting up absolute duds. He hasn't really been this solid middle line guy. He has had fluctuations, let's call it, throughout his career. Now, but I wanted to point out one other thing. Jalen Carter, what a start to his career, right? Looking like the absolute steal of the draft. 8 pressures and a sack. Had a 90.5 pass rushing grade according to PFF. So great start for him. Looks like a great pick. And, Eagles struggled, but in a rainy game, it's hard to take out much from the game. So
stupid that he fell to 9. Obviously it was he dealt with that awful stuff with the Georgia staffer and the car accident and all that tragedy, but like it's not fair that he went to the Eagles.
100%.
It's not fair.
Agreed. What we got next? Dolphins Chargers, Meisty. This was a fun one. What's your takeaway for this one?
Yeah, my first takeaway, was this was definitely best game of week 1 ever.
Yep.
Best week, that's
ever,
sure.
ever. Whoa.
Ever.
Okay. This week, yeah.
Ever. Week 1 game, best week 1 game ever.
Here we go.
Oh, all right. Well.
My takeaways are this. My takeaways are as follows. First of all, both teams are my takeaways are as follows. Both teams are legit. Right, even though they're as legit as they come. They both are offenses are high powered, ready to go. I think their defenses were just good, or just not good enough to stop each other's offenses. I think both these teams are looking at other teams with struggles and being like, the playoffs are wide open for both of them. Literally so wide open for the Dolphins, so wide open for the Chargers. And if you're a team like the Ravens, you better be looking at these teams being like, oh my God, you better find ways to lose the games like the Chargers do, because you need these teams to lose games.
Yeah. I love the offense, and I love how the spectacle we got to see. I think it was really cool, though, at the end, how the defense was the reason that the Dolphins were able to win the game, and Jalen Phillips was able to he was working the right tackle the whole game, but that he was able to work him at the end and got in on those pressures and those sacks, the key moments. And so that underrated Dolphins defense, obviously it wasn't good, but they were able to find a key stop when they needed it. And Tyreek Hill is just inhuman. I think he's on pace right now for 3,600 receiving yards. So, we'll see that. But yeah, overreaction right now. This is a bonus reaction. This isn't even in my notes. Tyreek Hill is going for 2,000 receiving yards this year.
That's an overreaction.
By the way, another note real quick. By the way, swing to something that we might not get to today, but MVP of the week is Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't incorporate that in there. Okay.
Yeah,
so,
but we'll say it now.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think,
Tua. It's not Tua.
Or Tua, really. Okay, Tua stat line, guys, this week. Just absolutely crazy. 466 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick, and looked particularly good on third down and late in the game. Really picked up the slack. So that was great. Just chunk play after chunk play. This is really what we figured. And, the offensive line looked good. Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack together did not record a single hit on Tua. So if they're going to give Tua time with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and that's not a slouch of a pass rush, over there in L.A., this is going to be a good team, man. So, but we'll obviously see. Listen, Tua's he's hard to get a read on. Very difficult to get a read on. So, we'll see how he plays.
I think the read is when he's healthy. When he's healthy, he's really good. That's what I think the read is.
Yeah, even that, yeah, right. The question is, was that the only concern last year? Was it just that he wasn't healthy, so when he came back, he was a half-baked Tua, or was it something to?
And also, by the way, the reason why Tua doesn't get MVP is because how many of these plays were little dump-offs and slants that Tyreek Hill. Yes, they were great passes that he made. But how many of these plays were all just the player.
Right.
A lot of it was Yak for sure, but he was still he threw the game-winning touchdown, that dot to Tyreek. It was just a little fade, but that was
a beautiful play.
yeah, exactly. So that he still threw that. That was crazy.
That's that.
Oh, so the game did not get delayed in the end.
Yeah, Rodgers coming out to the field for his first Jets drive right now.
Oh, is it? Okay, let's finish this up. Okay, Rams
Yeah,
Seahawks. Meisty, what's your one big takeaway from Rams Seahawks?
First of all, I would do the same thing as what's his name? If Aaron Donald was coming at me, I'd be, oh my god. I don't know if you guys saw that. Yeah, but I would have done the same exact thing, and I would have thrown that ball probably in his face. Just I would have been so scared. Seahawks second half this week, they had only 14 plays, 4 punts, had the ball for a total of 4 minutes and 55 seconds. That's a disaster.
Yeah.
Second half for any
team. Did his research.
So, but the first half looked good. Yeah, this game I hadn't saw that stat line on the second. I was like, that is a disgusting stat line.
Love it.
I think they just dominated. The Rams dominated them, and we'll talk about it in a few minutes more about it. But I think as long as they're healthy, Stafford's healthy, I think the Rams are a good team.
Yeah, Puka Nacua is the rookie of the week.
Darn it.
My takeaway is like Seahawks at home. Like, what are you doing? You can't name a single person on the Rams defense besides for Aaron Donald. Like, there is no way you can just ask, like even a casual football fan to just even an astute football fan to name anyone on the Rams defense. Like. And then they held them to 13 points, and the Seahawks just gave up 30 to Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell. Like,
I know. I
was disgusted. They cost me a lot of money too. So Seahawks.
Well said.
I'm nervous that last year Gino was, maybe it was a mirage.
Well, this is what we were saying before the year. Meisty and I were both talking about this. That is,
as we said.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We were talking about this before. Yeah, my takeaway is the same thing as you, Yehuda. It's the same exact thing. If you look at it, Van Jefferson, Tyler Higbee, and Scarana combined less than 10 targets. Targets, not receptions, targets. Meanwhile, you have Tutu Atwell and, how do you pronounce it? Puka Nacua, 119 yards apiece? What the heck? Didn't see that one coming. I'll tell you that. Without Cooper Kupp, you would think without Cooper Kupp, fine, maybe Van will pick up the slack, maybe Higbee. Nope. Puka Nacua and Tyler Atwell. There you go. Tutu Atwell, I'm sorry. There you go. So a bunch of guys with some interesting names. So let's go to Sunday Night Football. Cowboys, this was a great game, beginning to end, guys, right? I'm sure you guys watched till the end. I certainly didn't. I didn't even watch the second half. But, Meisty, what's your big takeaway from this one?
So
that was great delivery.
I heard a song come on at 8:20ish, and as soon as the song came on, after that I kind of fell asleep, and I'm glad I did. I did watch some highlights, and I turned it off at halftime. I just looked at the stat line after that. So I mean, they just stomped them. They sent them down to college. They really demoted them. They really they made the Giants look like it was day one. The Cowboys played their best game of the season, and the Giants played like they never had preseason. Like they never had I don't even know. There was the first day of training camp. It was so bad. It was just atrocious. And I found the reason. I discovered the reason. This is my takeaway. I discovered the reason. If you go up against the worst quarterback every single day in practice, and you're going to have 5 picks a player. And
oh my God, Rodgers is already hurt. I'm sorry to cut you off.
What happened?
Rodgers is sitting. The first drive, he's sitting down. He's hurt.
No.
Oh my God! This O-line, the Jet. I'm telling you,
Are
New
you
York
watching
O-line.
Oh wait, here. Let's put on that. What I see?
Oh my
I see
God.
running back. Oh, you're ahead of me.
Oh my God.
What? Okay.
Oh my.
Let's get okay. Fine. Let's get that. Meisty, yeah. So you were saying your big takeaway is pretty much that the Giants look like a college team, which naturally they did.
You're good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree with you. I don't know what you have to add to that, Yehuda. I'm just all units looked horrible from the Giants' perspective. It was like special teams, defense, offense. You could not have scripted a worse game for the Giants. Daniel Jones sacked 7 times. The Cowboys scored at every facet of the game. It was just a blowout. Just one of those games. It's like,
Yeah, I would say like this defense, and to go right into our overreactions. the Cowboys are winning the division by 3 games. The Eagles struggled. The NFC East doesn't have repeat winners. For 20 years, we have 20 years of data that every single year a new team wins the NFC East. And this Cowboys defense is last year's defense, but even better because they added Gilmore, and they're the new Dallas Doomsday defense of the 70s. And Micah Parsons literally was running on high schoolers. Like, they look like high schoolers.
Cedric Mullins, grand salami. Oh, baby. Grand salami.
Oh, my God.
Woo!
Zach Wilson in too. Yeah, but the Cowboys are so good. Their defense is so good, and they're winning this division, comfortably over the Eagles.
Sorry, I lost my composure there for a second. That was... So go right into it. 5 overreactions. Let's do it. So Yehuda, you transitioned to that was the prelude into yours. Let's call it. That's the word I was looking for.
Of course. I want to go fast because I really want to watch this game.
Okay, so let's go. 5. Let's do it. I'll do 5. Meisty will do 5, and we'll get out of here.
All right. Some of mine were Tua is going to be a top 3 MVP voter. We saw how his MVP vote getter. We saw his upside yesterday and these unstoppable receivers in Hill and Waddle, his dynamic duo, and he is going to get enough votes to be top 3 in MVP voting. And as we talked about Ryan Tannehill, how bad he was, I said Will Levis is going to be playing by week 12 because he's going to be so Tannehill's going to be so washed, and their team is going to be so out of the race and out of the picture. I think Rodgers might have broke his hand or something, messed with his wrist.
Is he back in the game yet?
No. But they are not going to be. They're going to be playing for the future, looking for the future. So they'll see what they have with Levis. So he'll be in by week 12, and then. To continue the theme of suckitude, the Bears will have the number 1 overall again. Their team and their quarterback is going to lead them to number 1 overall, and this time they might actually take the pick and not trade it. And lastly, I think unfortunately the Ravens are going to be a bottom tier team in rushing. They were always top 5, top 10, even top 5, top 1 sometimes in rushing. But this year they're going to be below average, if not bottom 10 in rushing.
Okay, let me run through my 5. Number 1, you mentioned the Cowboys. Cowboys going to win the NFC East, potentially the NFC. It's good overreaction, right? With how good they looked. Obviously, you could say it was just one game, but overreaction, that's the point. You're taking week 1 in a scope. My second one over here is that, this is a good one. The NFC South as a division will finish with a better record than the AFC West. Just judging by week 1, that should in fact be the case.
Crazy. That's a good one.
There you go. Number 3, the 49ers are going to win the Super Bowl. I mean, you come out of there and you kick the Steelers. You know what? In Pittsburgh, like Meisty said, they do not get blown out in Pittsburgh very often unless you're playing the Ravens in the wild card round, if you remember that one. But other than that, they do not get blown out in Pittsburgh very often. And the fact that the Niners came out absolutely swinging and just every facet of the game. Kenny Pickett was horrible. The Niners were fantastic, took advantage of all their playmakers. So that's number 3. Number 4 for me are the Chiefs are a losing team without Travis Kelce. If Kelce's not on this team, they have a losing record. I don't really believe that, but it's fun to put it out there anyway, just because everyone else is overreacting about that one. That's a fun one. And this is the last one. I love these. These are really fun. And so back to the Steelers. The offseason, the preseason, like you said, Yehuda, it was an absolute fluke. The Steelers stink. They're not a good team.
Yep.
Kenny Pickett, just awful. Deontay Johnson dropping passes again. Not going to get George Pickens involved. You're not going to be good. It's very simple. I don't believe that either. I think this was a fluke. But I don't think week 1 against one of the best rosters in football, even getting demolished at home, says that you're going to have a bad season. I think the Steelers will be fine this year, but concerning week 1, no question.
Why would you say an overreaction if it's not true? Because you're not overreacting. It's true. The Steelers are garbage.
It's not overreaction. It's just a fact.
You're not overreacting.
Right. It's just a fact. Meisty, bring us home.
Since I have the Bengals and the Chiefs not winning the divisions.
Nice.
That's my new take.
Oh, I like that.
Are the Browns' playoffs hopes alive?
Very much so.
Yeah. Why not?
Big cap. No, Packers are for real. Jordan Love is the answer. As Aaron Rodgers goes down, Jordan Love is the answer.
Yeah,
That's a good one. That's a good one.
that's what
The Packers are celebrating that one. The Rams, the Rams are legit. The Rams.
I'm sorry. I keep cutting you off, but like this is crazy. This is ridiculous.
What happened?
The Rams are legit, and the Giants are getting the first pick. Those are all my overreactions.
Quick.
Let's wrap it up.
We're gonna have to condense that and put that in a TikTok or something, because we're gonna have to condense all these and put it. All right, guys, let's watch Monday Night Football. Thank you for joining us, everyone. We'll see if Rodgers gets back on the field. If not, enjoy the game anyway. Peace out.